Okay, this is really exciting. I have so many things to show you. If you have any fabric in your house that you have been collecting that's white, just get it all out and put it in front of you and see what you've got. I did not realise how much stuff I had. So I went through my cupboards. I'm like, oh my God, right, box of laces, big box of white Dupion silks, chiffons. Oh my God, you know, what's these? Oh, beads and buttons and all sorts of lovely things. So it's really exciting. I'm going to show you some of them now. Just to have a look. So let's tackle organzas. So this is a pleated organza. You can get silk organza, which is lovely, better. So this is a nice pleated one. So that would be good stretched over a hat. It's got little sort of fishbone detail going on in here. So that's interesting. We like that one. This one here, I was very fortunate to have a friend very near me who's a wedding dress designer, so anything she had, you know, she was chopping off a dress, she would give it to me. So look at this with all these ruffles and details. So imagine if you covered a whole hat, this way around, if you covered a whole hat with this, it'd be mad. Maybe you could stiffen it and have it sticking up. It would fray a little bit, but it's just mad and it's lovely to cover a whole piece, and that's quite Alexander McQueenie, so that's really interesting. Another one that I've got here, it looks a bit vintage, but it's not, but it's actually got a pliqued sort of lacy flowers on it. So I've taken some of those off, or you could cover a bit of a headpiece when you've got one little flower on the side, you know, or you could cut them out, like I say. And so that is really interesting as well. Obviously that would look lovely on a big long dress, but we can use that for a hat. Just what I've got underneath here is a latticed cinnamon, so that we're going to use later for a trim. Love a bit of latticed cinnamon. That's always good on a bridal piece if you want to make something a bit sculptural. Crin, so crin is good, white. You can manoeuvre it like I did before and I made the holes in it, or we could just put that on top for a bit of a trim. So save that. This beauty here is a vintage piece that's been cut off a dress. Can you see that? I'll have to take a picture of it on the table for you. These are kind of the headpieces that I showed you earlier, and I will take down shots of those. So this one here, it's got a little bit of lace and detail and beads on it. So that has come from a beaded lace on there. Look at this. So they're moving on to some laces. Look at that. I mean, it's just so expensive because it's so heavy. These can cost hundreds of pounds per metre, but as milliners we only need about 20 centimetres. So you can go into a very expensive shop with, you know, I used to go to Bridal Fabrics in Berwick Street before we had all of this lockdown, and just ask them for a 20 centimetre strip. You could go to Shepherd's Bush, look online, look for Indian fabrics. A lot of them are beautiful and they've got real detail and beading on them. So if you order a 20 centimetre strip, if you go into the shop often they'll sell that to you, much cheaper than buying the whole metre, so you can get away with it. You know, you can spend 20 or 30 pounds. You've got a beautiful long piece, and then you can use that on a few different hats. This one is from Raintree. Yeah, it's from Raintree. So this one was given to me by a wedding dress designer, so that was really nice. Another one, this is more, is sort of a fake, it's a bit cheaper, lurexy, but beaded. This one here is the edge of a dress, but just really nice. That could go on a hat, it could go over the whole head. So that would just inspire you. That's got lovely beads on. This one, all beaded fabric, quite heavy again. This one I think I got from the Silk Company in Berwick Street. So that one is really lovely, and I've laid that over a few hats. So that is nice. Also cut a little bit off so it could be a ribbon. This here is a more of a tulle, just with a lovely edging. So that is not so expensive. It's probably about 20 odd pounds, but the detail is quite nice that you got in the flowers. Ooh, it's so exciting. Little bits again of detail. This one here is has been cut out of probably lace was around it. Can't remember exactly now, but I've cut the pieces out. So then these can be laid on top. So I could have a bit of sort of a silk, and then I could have lace on top of that, and I could sort of layer it up with flowers and fabrics. And this can be a nice little flower detail that could go on the top. So save everything. This one is just beautiful. This could be as a veil. So very thin, and that can just go over a nice sort of silk dupion. Something can go over that, and then you just got a hint of this detail, and you've got the heavier fabric underneath. So same when you're making a dress, you can just layer it up. So that'd be really nice, and this is a really lovely silk. And more here, another lace. This was a bit of a top, I think. Show you can use anything, so we can use that section. Another beaded. See all these little beads going on. I mean, it's just beautiful, and you can get loads of lovely ideas to then put your headpiece underneath and get the beads and the detail showing up through. You can't see that so well because it's white, but you can get the effect, get the idea with this on my black top. Okay, this is just a sort of fake organza. I think the silkier organza is a nicer organza here, silk organza. So this is lovely, and this you could pleat, fold, scrunch, or just have it straight on. Another one here which has got a little sort of pleats in it, but very, very fine. It's not really pleats, it's actually in the detail of the fabric. It's the little lines going across. Now this is more of a creamy colour. You might want to stick with white, but this is more creamy if you want that. Okay, mostly everything, more of a tulle. So this would be lovely on a you know, big veil, but also you could scrunch this up, or put a bit of this on the hat, or put, you know, have your hat here, excuse me, and then have this coming up, or scrunched, or coming up or out, and you can have it all really puffy and have that coming out. More detail, could be the bottom of a dress or a sleeve fabric, but this would just be quite interesting. I think I've got this one down Boverick Street again, probably Soho Silks, but yeah, it was just cut as a bit of a strip, I think, a bit of a ribbon type of thing, I think. So that's quite interesting, but got that a while ago. Then we've got leather. So yeah, this is quite creamy with a grey hint to it, depending on what your bride wants. But that could be really interesting, couldn't it? Adding leather on as well. And another silk sort of dupion, which is quite thick. So then that is good if you want to hide any bumps from the cinema. Also, I've got here Demott fabric. So this is really good, and what they used on a lot of hats in the old days to cover them before they put fabric on them. So if you use, say, a buckram, and it's quite rough, it's quite hard, sometimes you get little bobbles, sometimes you can get it with little holes in it. So say, you know, this has got little holes in it. The buckram would have little holes because it'd be weaved together, and then it can be quite rough. Or you can get buckram which is really tightly woven together, but still it can be rough. So if you use that, or if we use cinema and it feels a bit rough, you know, you put this fabric on or anything else, and you know, it feels rough through it, put this Demott fabric on first, which is fluffy and thick, and then layer your fabric over the top of that. So we'll go over that later, but you put this on, it's a bit ugly, but it just gives a nice layer, and then you can put on your fabric, which is just sort of lovely and silky and special and expensive looking and nice, and then you can put on your layer of lace on top of that and see how you're going, and then you can put on another layer which has been beaded, or you can pick little other bits and pieces that you want, and you can just keep going, sort of layer them up and see what you want on there and what you don't. but there's no point in just getting the cinnamon and putting your lace straight on it, because you'll be able to see the grains and it won't look as expensive and as nice. So I would layer it up with a bit of fabric first and then start applying your pieces on, unless your client wants something really light and summery and just a tiny little bit of netting and that's it. But I would say really to make it a little more bridally, to make it go with the dress, layer it up like this. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. That was fun, just looking at all these bits and pieces. That'll give you a few ideas. Get all your fabrics out, go through what you've got, have a look. Also save your crims, any wire that you've got, any PVA, because you can stiffen things like lace. So you could get this lace and you could stiffen it, and you can see what fun things you can make with it, because it could start coming up and sticking out. And then we will go on and start playing and putting things on soon. All right, I'll see you in the next video.